The U.S. tax code has been and continues to be undeniably very progressive. Let's look at the most recent Treasury Office of Tax Analysis estimates on the national individual tax burden. Those show us a few things. They show us, for example, that the top 1% of U.S. taxpayers earned roughly 20% of all income nationally, and they paid 42% of total federal income taxes. So this group's average federal income tax rate was 22%. The bottom 50%, on the other hand, earned 14% of all income nationally and paid negative 5.5% of total federal income taxes. This group's average federal income tax rate was negative 6.3%, meaning net federal tax burdens on average are actually negative for the lower half of American taxpayers by household income. In other words, they're getting more back through refundable tax credits than what they pay in. If this isn't evidence of an overwhelmingly progressive federal tax system currently in place, I don't know what would be. I don't know how it could be more progressive than that within our system. Even if we look at the distribution of the federal tax burden in a broader way by including the payroll tax burden, the federal tax code remains overwhelmingly progressive. Another inconvenient truth that some of my colleagues like to omit while making claims of how desperately we need more tax revenue is that federal tax revenue as a percentage of GDP was 19.6% in 2022. This is unusually high. In fact, this is the second highest level in the last 60 years, and about 2 percentage points higher than the historic average during that time period, even during periods when the top marginal tax rate has been much, much higher, like well into the 70s. Ironically, this explosive growth in revenue was driven in large part from significantly higher than expected income tax collections from realized capital gains. Regrettably, spending in 2022 as a percent of GDP was still 5 percentage points higher than the historical average. Further, federal revenues have averaged 17.3% of GDP over the last 10 years, in line with the 60-year historical average of 17.4%, but federal spending has averaged 23%, way above the 60-year historical average of 20%, and that's only projected to increase.